I walked into my bedroom and saw my husband with my sister. They didn't stop. They looked at me. I caught them together inside my house. Later she said she was pregnant. But I found out the baby wasn't his. Then she disappeared. When I thought it was over, she left me something I could never return. My husband, Mark, and I had been together for 7 years, married for 4. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. I work in healthcare admin, long hours sometimes. He works from home in IT. I paid most of the bills because my job paid more, and he always played it off like we're a team. But the cracks were there. He made excuses to not do chores, saying he was mentally exhausted after coding, even though I was gone 10 hours a day. He always wanted praise for the smallest things. I once came home after a double shift to find he'd left the sink full of dishes and said, "I didn't have time to do them. I had meetings." He had time to game for 3 hours, though. My sister, Emily, has always been the golden child. She's the youngest and my mom's favorite. Growing up, I was the responsible one, while she was always getting into messes and being bailed out. I figured that was just family dynamics, and I tolerated it because, well, she was my sister. Mark and Emily were friendly. I thought it was harmless. She'd come over a lot, sometimes uninvited, always with some chaotic drama she needed help with. Car broke down, needed a place to crash, broke up with another loser boyfriend. I didn't love how close she was to Mark, but I chalked it up to being paranoid. Big mistake. Here's how I found out. And it was sudden. No build-up. Just a wrecking ball to the face. One Saturday, I got called into work unexpectedly. I came home early afternoon, maybe around 2 p.m. Mark wasn't expecting me. His car was in the garage, which was weird because he usually parked on the street when Emily came over so she could use the driveway. My gut clenched. I walked into silence. No TV, no game on, no music. Just dead quiet. I called his name. Nothing. I go upstairs. Bedroom door slightly cracked. I walk in. There they are. Mark and Emily. In my bedroom. Not sleeping. Fully involved. And I just froze. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. I turned around and walked out. Sat in my car. Everything felt numb. A few minutes later, they come out. Mark in a robe like this was some spa weekend. Emily grabs her stuff and tries to say something like, "Wait, it's not what it looks like," insulting my intelligence. I told her to get out. She started crying. Mark stood there, arms crossed, no apology, just watching. I asked him why. He shrugged and said, "You're never here. What did you expect?" That line rewired my brain. I didn't even argue. I packed a bag, booked a hotel for a week, and left. I didn't tell anyone for 2 days. Just sat in that hotel room, staring at the ceiling. On the 3rd day, I texted my mom. Her response? "I'm sure it's not that bad. Maybe don't overreact." That's when I knew. I was alone in this. I went back to the house when I knew Mark would be at work. Took as much as I could. Left him a note saying he could contact my lawyer. Filed for divorce the next day. He sent me one message. "You're really blowing this up. You're the one abandoning your family." I didn't reply. What followed was weeks of nonsense. Emily started texting me constantly, switching between apologies and victimhood. "It just happened. We didn't plan it. He loves me now. Please don't hate me." My mom? She actually invited them both to a family dinner and expected me to come. Said we can't stay mad forever. I blocked them all. Every single one of them. Except my dad, who's been low contact with all of us for years. And he was the only one who called me and said, "You did the right thing, and this would have been enough of a mess." But it gets worse. A week after I blocked everyone, I start getting calls from an unknown number. Voicemail after voicemail. Mark. He wanted to talk like adults. Said he didn't want to throw away what we had. That Emily was a mistake. Claimed she tricked him. Whatever that means. Next day, he shows up at my job. I had to get security involved. He started yelling in the parking lot, saying I was ruining his life, making things hard for him with his friends, that I had humiliated him by leaving so fast and making it public. He said I had destroyed our marriage, not the affair. Not the betrayal. Me. HR got involved. He was banned from the premises. That's when I changed my number. But the next wave? Social media. Mark went full victim mode on Facebook. My wife abandoned me after I made one mistake. Family is supposed to forgive. My aunt, who I hadn't spoken to in years, DMs me to say I'm being cruel. Cousins I haven't seen since high school joined in. It was like a smear campaign, all built on lies. But I wasn't staying quiet. I posted just one screenshot. Marks, you're never here, what did you expect text? Let the people make their own conclusions. That shut a lot of people up. Some deleted comments. A few apologized. Most just went silent. And then came the biggest twist of all. A week after that, Emily calls me from a new number and says she's pregnant. I didn't say a word for like 10 seconds. Just held the phone to my ear and let her keep talking. She sounded weirdly calm, like she was reading from a script. Said she didn't know how far along she was, said Mark was confused but supportive and they were trying to figure things out. Then she had the nerve to ask if I wanted to be involved, since we're still sisters. I hung up. Didn't respond. Blocked her new number. 10 minutes later, Mark emails me from a burner account. Subject line, let's not make this ugly. I didn't open it. Just forwarded it to my lawyer. He was trying to slow down the divorce, claiming I was emotionally unstable and that we needed counseling. I hadn't spoken to him in weeks. The projection was wild. Then I get a call from my mom. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. She sounded annoyed, not concerned. Told me I was being selfish and that a child is on the way. She was talking like it was my niece or nephew. I told her if she wanted to be grandma of the year, she could do that without involving me. Her response? You're acting like a bitter ex. It's not a good look. That was it. I told her I was done. Done pretending like she ever had my back. Done being the afterthought while Emily burned everything down and got a round of applause. I blocked her mid-sentence. I wish I could say the drama stopped there, but nope. Emily started messaging friends of mine. People from work, old college friends, anyone who still had me on social media. She told them I was spiraling, that I was jealous because she was finally happy, and even said I'd always had issues with men. I had to lock my accounts down. Made everything private, changed usernames. It was like I was being stalked, digitally and emotionally. 2 weeks later, I got an email from Mark again. This time short and aggressive. Said he was going to fight me in court over property, said I abandoned the house and he wanted full ownership even though I'd paid for 75% of it. My lawyer tore that apart in 5 minutes, but the point was clear, he wasn't done trying to punish me. Around this time, a friend who works in real estate reached out. Told me he'd seen a listing pop up for her house. Mark was trying to sell it without my signature. I called my lawyer again. More legal action. He backed off, but not before claiming I was ruining his future by making everything so hard. I was trying to stay quiet, stay low, keep it professional. Until I ran into them in person. Yeah. Of course that happened. It was at a grocery store of all places. I was just trying to buy toilet paper and wine, minding my business. I turned a corner and boom, there's Emily and Mark. She looked different. Tired. Not glowing, not proud. Just weird. He looked smug. I tried to walk past them like I didn't even know them. But Emily stepped into my path and said, "Can we just talk like adults?" I said, "Move." Mark stepped in then, trying to corner me between the shelves. Said I was being immature and that this didn't have to be a war. I told him to get out of my face. He smirked and said, "It's not like you didn't see this coming." That's when I snapped. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. I just said, "You're both disgusting," and walked around them. As I passed, Emily reached out and grabbed my arm. I turned and pushed her hand off and she stumbled backward right into a shelf of soup cans. Loud as hell. Whole aisle went quiet. Mark immediately started yelling, "What is wrong with you? She's pregnant." Manager came over. I told them I was being harassed, that I wanted to leave and they should check the security footage. I left before it got worse. Didn't look back. Next day, I got a notice. Emily filed a complaint against me. Said I endangered her and the baby. It didn't go anywhere because cameras clearly showed she grabbed me first, but that shook me. I was done trying to play it cool. I gave my lawyer everything. All the messages, the stalking, the property threats, the public harassment. She filed a restraining order request. It was approved temporarily within 48 hours. That really set them off. Mark emailed again. Said I was destroying his reputation. Emily posted on Facebook that I attacked a pregnant woman and tried to ruin a new family before it started. Her friends joined in. Comment after comment about how I was jealous, bitter, and childless and angry. What none of them knew, what I hadn't told anyone, is that I was pregnant once. With Mark's child. And I lost it 2 years ago due to stress and overwork. He never supported me through it. In fact, he barely acknowledged it. I grieved alone. He called it a blip and went back to gaming. That's what made all their posts feel like a knife to the chest. These people didn't just betray me. They enjoyed doing it. They wanted me to break down publicly. They wanted me to lose everything just so they could feel powerful. But here's where things finally shifted. Court date came. I showed up with my lawyer, files stacked. Emily didn't show. Mark did. Tried to act calm and rational, but when the judge asked where his partner was, he said, "She's unwell because of her," and pointed at me. That went over real well. My lawyer presented everything. The judge saw the messages, the footage, the property attempts, the harassment. Restraining order was extended for 6 months. Mark looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. He stormed out before the hearing even ended. A week later, my dad called. Said he'd seen everything, heard through the grapevine what had gone down. He told me something I'll never forget. "Your mother always protected Emily because she saw too much of herself in her. And she resents you for being the one who got out." That line broke something open in my brain. It explained so much. Why my mom always defended Emily. Why she never supported me. Why she kept pushing forgiveness like it was my job to eat garbage and say thank you. So I made the final decision. I changed my last name. Updated all documents. Sold the car Mark co-signed on. Moved to a new place with a new lease, new locks, new neighborhood. Blocked every single extended family member. No warnings. No explanations. Just silence. 1 month after I moved, I got a letter. No name on the envelope. Just one line. "He's not the father." I must have read it 10 times. First thought? Emily was lying about the pregnancy. Or someone was messing with me. But it didn't feel like a prank. The envelope had no postmark. It was dropped off in person into my building's private mail slot. That narrowed it down. Only a handful of people even knew my new address. I hadn't shared it with anyone connected to Emily or Mark. Except, one. A mutual friend or so I thought from college who'd stayed neutral throughout the whole fallout. She'd said she didn't want to take sides. I never told her details about the divorce, but I'd slipped up and given her my new mailing address to send a birthday card. I sent her a text, "Did you drop something off at my place?" She replied with a thumbs up emoji. That's when I knew she wasn't just watching, she was in it. Gathering info. Passing things along. I didn't even answer. Just blocked her and threw out every old contact tied to my past. But the letter? That stuck with me. 2 weeks later, I get a message on an old email I'd forgotten to deactivate. New sender, fake name. But the writing? Familiar tone. He doesn't know. She's lying to him. Check the due dates. That was it. Nothing else. And it clicked. That's why Emily looked so weird in the grocery store. Not glowing. Not confident. Just tense. I went back through the timeline. She told me she was pregnant a week after I left Mark, but we'd barely been separated. That math was suspicious from the beginning. So I called someone I did trust. One of Mark's old co-workers, let's call her Nina, who had cut ties with him months before everything exploded. She was blunt. Everyone knew Mark and Emily were messing around. But she was also seeing someone else. One of Mark's friends. She thought nobody noticed. That friend's name? Tyler. Used to hang out at our place sometimes. I never liked him. Smarmy, always making borderline comments. I once caught him staring at my chest during a barbecue. Guess who Emily crashed with during one of her breakups? Yep. Tyler. So now there was a third variable. And the timeline got messy. Emily probably didn't know who the father was and told Mark it was his to lock him in. Probably figured he'd cling to the family man act. She bet on his ego and it worked until I got the letter. So I did something petty. I sent an anonymous email to Mark. From a throwaway. One line. Get a DNA test. That's it. Didn't sign it. Didn't reply. But I watched. Because within 3 days, Emily's Facebook changed. The baby posts vanished. No bump pictures. No nursery updates. Just a post about taking a break from social media to focus on mental health. Translation, Mark asked questions. She panicked. A week later, Mark's burner email hit me again. This time pure rage. "I don't know what lies you're spreading, but you're ruining lives. I hope you're proud." Bingo. I didn't answer. Didn't need to. But I wanted confirmation. So I messaged Nina again and asked, "Has Mark talked to Tyler lately?" She replied, "They had a massive falling out last week. Blocked each other." Boom. Case closed. I couldn't prove anything with paperwork, but I didn't need to. The chaos spoke for itself. And knowing I'd planted the seed that unraveled their fake fairy tale? That was enough for me. But that's not even the wildest part. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my dad. He rarely calls. Texts sometimes, sends news articles, checks in on holidays. But this time? Actual call. He sounded shaken. I just got a call from your mother. She said Emily's in the hospital. Apparently, she collapsed at home. Stress-induced complications. The pregnancy? Terminated. Miscarriage. Mark had left the hospital before she woke up. I had no emotion. None. Just listened. He said she was asking for you. I said, not my problem. There was silence. Then he said, you're right. That's all. No guilt trip. No pleading. Just confirmation. I thought maybe it was over after that. Maybe they'd retreat, lick their wounds, move on with their trash lives. I was wrong again. 3 days after the call, I get served at work. Emily filed a civil claim. Defamation. Emotional distress. She accused me of spreading malicious rumors and sabotaging her relationship, which allegedly caused the miscarriage. I laughed in the HR office. My boss didn't. She said I had to handle it legally and keep work separate. So I did. I gave the entire case to my lawyer, who practically cackled when she read the complaint. It was weak, full of emotional language, zero evidence, and lots of vague claims. We filed a counterclaim: harassment, malicious prosecution, reputational harm. But here's where the story turns again. Because in the depositions, under pressure, Emily slipped. She admitted on record that she wasn't sure about the father. Boom. That one line destroyed her case. The judge dismissed it within 10 minutes. Her fake claims? Gone. Our counterclaim? Pending. She might actually owe me damages. Mark? Vanished. Deleted all socials. Quit his job. According to Nina, he's living with some older woman now, one of his gaming buddies. Moved states. Ghosted Emily completely. No custody fight. No child support. Nothing. Just gone. And the kicker? Tyler, the other possible father, posted a baby registry link a few days ago with another woman. Different city. Different kid. Meaning he also bailed on Emily. So now she's alone. No baby. No boyfriend. No sister. No support. And all her flying monkeys who harassed me? They've gone quiet. Real quiet. Like it never happened. I still get anonymous emails sometimes. Weird ones. Short. One-liners like, you ruined her, or you should have just stayed gone. But I don't open them anymore. I forward them. Build my case. And I'm not scared. Because if they want to play legal games, I've already won. 3 months go by. I'm doing better. Therapy. Joined a gym. Started dating again, casually. Then last week, I get a letter. Official envelope. Legal header. But not from Emily, Mark, or anyone I dealt with before. It was from an attorney representing a minor child. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But as I read on, I felt my stomach drop. The letter stated that Emily had given birth. Quietly. No announcements. No registry. No visitors. Nothing. And she'd listed me as the emergency contact. But that wasn't the twist. The child had been left at the hospital. Emily left after 24 hours. No note. No forwarding info. No father on record. Just gone. The hospital tried contacting every number she gave, all fake. Except mine. She used my old number and my name. Why? Because I'm the only one who never needed her. And she couldn't stand that. Her final move wasn't revenge. It was dumping her mess in my lap, thinking I'd crack. That I'd feel guilty. That I'd break. I didn't. I contacted the attorney, gave them everything: restraining orders, legal files, police reports. I confirmed no biological relation. No legal ties. No obligation. But I also did something else. I sent a check. Not big. Not flashy. Just enough to cover supplies for a week. Diapers, formula, basic needs. With a note that said, not for you. For the baby. Don't ever use my name again. And I never heard from her again.